open my Facebook to watch the signal and then share it. You can also do that too, like on your.
Oh, yes, good idea.
Yeah. All right, guys. Not sure if you guys are watching yet, but we're getting our live signal ready to go out today on Eleva. If you guys follow us, si nos siguen en Eleva, compartan el día de hoy a sus páginas personales. La más cantidad de gente que pueda ver esta señal, lo más que podemos sacar la información que se va a dar el día de hoy. Así que ya estamos en vivo, ya me puedo ver, así que let me get to starting. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Les habla Obi de Eleva. El día de hoy tenemos a una invitada súper especial, pero antes de eso, les quiero decir que el día de hoy vamos a estar en inglés y en español. Tenemos un evento que va a pasar este sábado en la ciudad de Dardanelle. Entonces, sí que estén atentos. Si no entienden algo, en los comentarios, por favor, ahí pregunten y les vamos a dar la información lo más pronto posible. Pero antes de seguir, les quiero nomás mencionar que el día de hoy, este podcast está patrocinado por OB Golf, que es Old Bank Golf, aquí en la ciudad de Russellville. Es un simulador de golf aquí que va a abrir la próxima semana. Así que if you're watching, just want to give a shout out to OB Golf, has sponsoring this episode of Eleva, which will open next week out there in downtown Russellville. Así que vamos a empezar con nuestra invitada. Tenemos a Meredith Martin-Moats de River Valley Adult Learning Center. How are you today?
I'm all right. How about you?
Good, good. Are you still a little nervous? Maybe it's going away?
A little, but I'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here. You know, sometimes this is hard because, like, usually we're behind the scenes. I've even told the guys, like, I'm about behind the scenes, and maybe we can have somebody replace me at times. You know, I have a good friend that's really good with cameras, but sometimes we just gotta roll with the punches and do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And especially when it's for a good cause, you know.
Right.
So I know you have an event this weekend. The
Yeah.
14th is a community resource event for the community. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about you, and you know how you got to this point. I mean, maybe not the whole history, right? But because that probably take hours. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you. You know, where you're from and
Okay.
and what you do.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm from Dardanelle. I grew up in Dardanelle. My family's been in this area for 5-6 generations. Graduated from Dardanelle High School in like 1996. So, but I left and I was gone for a while. Went different places. But I saw an opening for a director position for the Literacy Council for 5 counties. It's Pope Johnson, Franklin, Logan, and Yell, about 5 years ago now. And I thought, oh, that sounds really fun. And so I started off as a part-time person, and then now we have grown a lot. And so I'm the director of the 5 counties. And so and we're really trying to kind of open up the Literacy Council to be, that's one of the reasons we're called the River Valley Adult Learning Alliance, is we're expanding what we do. We don't just do literacy. We do all kinds of, pretty much any kind of educational goal that an adult or family might have. That's what we help with. So it's really fun for me and really meaningful for me because, like I said, I grew up here. I was raised in a family where not everyone was literate, so I understand, what that means and how important it is for people to have the resources that they need. I feel like really strongly that, just because people haven't had access has nothing to do with their capabilities or intelligence or anything like that. So just making sure that people have those resources. So it's really important to me. And I'm also, I really love the fact that we have a multicultural community here, and I want my kids to grow up in community. And so, this is hometown for me. So
Yeah, and I think that's great what you do. I know you were telling me you were a little hesitant because you're like, I'm like a white lady trying to do a Hispanic event or whatever. And I was like, hey, well, you're doing it, might as well. So what attracts you to like for example, the Hispanic community, like the help, the need for it, like what kind of like, just maybe you saw a need or whatever, what motivates you or motivated you to try to help in that sense,
Yeah, well, when I first started the job, the Literacy Council helps pretty much anyone who needs resources. But one of the things we see a lot is people, want to learn English, want to either learn English from at the beginning, or they're advanced English speakers, but they just want to
Yeah.
advance further. So like that. I really loved being able to help people with that, and then I think that and bringing people together. Like I said, I grew up here. And so I think that one of our strengths in this community is the diversity that we have here and the ability to work together.
Yeah.
So I consider myself like a lifelong learner. So estoy aprendiendo español.
Ah, ya. Sabe
So
español, tengan cuidado.
sí,
No hablen
sí.
detrás de ella.
I think I'm in first grade, according to the Mexican consulate resources that I have been using. But so one of the things we're trying to do with the organization is I feel like a lot of times when communities that are primarily English speaking, like reach out to Spanish speaking community, it's like, we're going to do this in English and then we're just going to translate it, which is great. That's fine. But we're trying to really think about our work as being fundamentally bilingual, so that, everything we do is accessible in both languages. It's one of the reasons I'm trying to learn is because, I want to be able to communicate and understand more. So, and I think that one of the great things about our communities, we have so many kids who grow up speaking both languages.
Yeah.
And that's such a huge asset. That's such an amazing thing. So we're just trying to and right now we're mostly focused on English and Spanish because that's what most people speak. But we also know that Hmong is spoken in this area, Filipino language is spoken.
Okay.
And that's for like a Southeast Asian language. So, we really want to be a multilingual organization. I don't know. I just think that I also feel very strongly that, there are people in this community who have to learn English as, a survival skill to get by. And those of us who are monolingual English speakers, I feel like the least we can do is exert ourselves a little bit to learn more. So I'm getting there. So if you see me, make me practice in Spanish, but it'll probably be weird. I probably won't say everything correctly.
Yeah, well, every time I show up here to the office, because Tao's learning Spanish too.
Awesome.
And he's always asking me kind of the words we use that are not official.
Yes.
So every time I call him or I show up, I'm like, hey, ¿qué onda? And then I taught him he can say ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Sí.
Not like all proper. It's like ¿qué tal? ¿Qué onda? Like just more like chill, like hey, dude, So I try to play with the guys here. I'm not with Michael yet, but I probably should start because he also has some kind of Spanish background. I know his step grandfather was from Monterrey, Mexico, so he's been out there.
Nice.
I've never been. I have to go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Well, I'm glad you're involved. It's a good feeling for me when other people other than our culture are interested in the development and help of our community, because not everybody is bold enough to do it or even spend the times and hours to help. So I really appreciate that. I feel that I'm probably like the smallest of what you guys been doing here for years, and but we have this medium to put it out there and help the community, which is our purpose, Yeah. So I'm really glad you're involved with that. But before we get to what's coming, because there's something coming, algo viene este fin de semana que muchos de ustedes deberían de aprovechar en nuestra comunidad. Muchos de nosotros somos como muy, a veces, ¿cómo se dice? Para la próxima, o ahí nos quedamos viendo la tele, pero en lo que deberíamos de enrolarnos, no lo hacemos. Entonces yo les pido y les suplico que este fin de semana vayan a este evento que va a venir, pero ahorita el ratito se lo decimos más. I'm trying to kind of build it up so they could be like, what is it, So, but before we get to that, so you grew up in Dardanelle. So what was the dynamic growing up? I know that at least 20 years ago, the Hispanic community was small, and then Tyson and all this stuff,
Yes.
and now it grew. So I know that I've talked to a lot of younger kids that are older now that they did have a tough issue growing up around here. Like, it was like another world. Everything was in English, or they were different, So, how was that? What did you see growing up? And I'm sure it kind of helped you make a decision on getting involved,
Yeah. Well, and actually, this is something I've talked about a lot with my coworker, Alejandra Reyes, who I think's been on the podcast several times. So I want to give a shout out to her because, she's helping me learn and has done so much. But so I graduated, like I said, in 1996, and from Dardanelle. I can't really speak to what was happening in Russellville, but we didn't really have a very large Hispanic community in Dardanelle in 1996. It was just really kind of starting to develop.
Yeah.
There were just a few people I went to school with, and then I left in 1996 and went to school in Conway at UCA. And, you know, and you, I like so many Dardanelle people, I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm coming back, you know? So, I mean, I did come back all the time to see my family, but I wasn't particularly connected to, you know, the interworkings of Dardanelle at that particular time. But I remember sometime probably in the early 2000s, you know, really starting to notice that the population was growing. My mom used to be secretary of the Dardanelle Church of Christ, and so she worked really closely with, you may know him, preacher Aris Ortiz, and he started the Spanish-speaking church at the Dardanelle Church where we went. So, you know, so I was noticing like, oh, there's a lot more people, but yes, everything was in English. I don't remember, you know, and now, you know, as an adult, I've had lots of conversations with friends about, you know, what their experiences were like. And yeah, it was really hard. I think, you know, there was no translation, a lot, quite frankly, a lot of, you know, prejudice and racism toward them. And, you know, and I think, you know, it's changing. And one of the things that I remember also noticing, I substitute taught for a while. My mother passed away at one point, and I had moved back and was living here. And after she passed away, I started substitute teaching. And this was in, gosh, I don't know, 2008, something like that. And at Dardanelle School. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, we have so many kids in Dardanelle schools who are basically formal translators, you know, for the community. And, you know, like I just thought, wow, this is a lot for a kid to handle, and B, you know, just how much the town of Dardanelle was benefiting from these kids being bilingual. And so it's something I've thought about a lot, is like, you know, like it's such a skill set. And quite honestly, if you go to larger cities, people get paid a lot of money every hour to do what happens for fourth graders in public school. You know, and so that really got me thinking about, you know, how we build community and how we appreciate what people are doing. And so, so anyway, that's a long way to say I've seen a lot of the changes. I don't feel like I totally understand them all, but I try to keep myself educated, because like I said, this is home for me. And I feel like the way the only future is for it to be home for everybody and us all work together. And I think that it's hard to do that if you're not actively trying to build community across language. So I just shout out to all the kids who grew up translating, because I know a lot of people who did, and I watched that from behind the scenes, and I always respected it a lot. And I hope that we're treating those kids who are now adults with the respect that, you know, they've done a lot. They have done a lot for the community.
They stepped up.
Absolutely.
And they didn't have to, because I know there's, you know, I know that the federal government helps with providing actual interpreters for public places. Yes. But these kids stepped up.
They stepped up. Yeah. Like it's amazing. It's amazing to me.
I mean, I stepped up myself.
Did you?
Because I mean, I went to kindergarten in 1980. Should I say it?
I say I'm
in the
giving my
80s. In the 80s. I translated for my mom. I went to kindergarten knowing just Spanish. Wow. So it was hard for me to kind of adapt from 5th grade to 3rd grade. And I mean, boy, the teachers were mean, because they're like, "Who's this guy falling behind?" Like, I didn't even know what African American history. I didn't know what it meant. I just thought, make a book report on someone that was African American. I didn't know the concept of Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and like Malcolm X. It wasn't, you know. So I started kind of getting it 4th and 5th grade. Now I had, I guess, a PTSD about that. So my kids don't know Spanish, because I was like, I don't want them to struggle like I did, you know. But now I'm kind of like, me and my wife are like, dang, we messed up, because now, I mean, I see them thriving. They're straight A students. They know their English language is their first language. So now we're going to have to take them to Mexico for about 2 months so they can come back a little Mexican and just know some words, you know. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go cold turkey on them. Like, let's go to Mexico for a month. Yeah. Go talk to your uncles, you know. But I can, what is the word I'm looking for? I feel with those guys that kids that have to translate at a young age and figure it all out because like I had to figure it all out myself. And my parents were working; they were trying to make
Right.
things happen. So I'm glad that you have resources like this. So pay attention, guys. Like, go to these things. Vayan a estos eventos porque se van a beneficiar mucho. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, so let's go into the event. But before we do that, if you're watching, si están mirando en vivo y están viendo la señal. Hágame un favor y compártanla. I'm going to do it myself. Tal says, looking good. Thank you, bro. I'm going to share it here to my personal Facebook.
He's watching so he can come to Spanish classes.
I know. Yeah, Tal.
I'll tell you about him after that.
There you go. Okay. We got a couple viewers and stuff, but yeah, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead. Si están viendo ahorita, por favor compartan. Queremos que todos lleguen a este evento el sábado. Pero antes de seguir and before continuing, I want to give a shout out to Grow and Go Academy, hosted by Dr. Ali Young. This is an online community for moms, parents looking to stay on track with their babies for the first 12 months. So thank you for sponsoring today's podcast. I want to say show, but I mean, I don't know, like podcast, show, segment, thank you guys so much for believing in what we're doing. So, all right. Well, I guess we covered a few things, about a little bit about you and the reasons. So what's coming up this weekend? I know it really means a lot to you. And when you reached out, I thought that maybe we should do something like this because we can always put a flyer and everything, but when people listen to the whys and the passion behind it, I think that we can have better results, So I thank you for coming. And I know that, like you said, you're an introvert, but I know you're really trying right now.
I am. So. I come across as very extroverted, but I'm not. And so after I'm very public for a while, I have to go home and recoup.
I mean, I a lot of people don't believe me. I'm telling them I'm an introvert, but they don't because, like, I've done music, I've stage dived, like, I'm loud. But, like, that's kind of, like, who I have to be to thrive, I guess, because I'm actually, like, before either coming on here or when I did music, I was in backstage. I was just sweating. I was, like, so nervous.
Right, yeah. I get
and
that.
Then so once they mentioned the name and I had to kind of go up the stairs, I had to switch into Sasha Fierce or whatever, like.
Yes, no, I do.
Like my alter ego
persona.
guy. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but anyways, so tell us about this Saturday. What do we have? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the backstory because I think that's really gets the message across. So, I'm helping with this because I'm the director, but this was really, really driven by a man named Mario Mendez. If you're from Dardanelle, you probably know the Mendez family. This is a younger Mario that I'm talking about right now. But he graduated from Dardanelle, like, I'm not sure, but he's in his early 20s now. But he went to work for Hispanic Federation, which is a national organization based out of New York City. And so they do all kinds of stuff throughout the nation. And we've worked with them once before, and he reached out to me and he said, there's some funding for some events, especially things that will help people with sort of food insecurity and groceries, as well as education. And most of the funding goes to, larger cities, big areas or whatever. But he was, really dedicated to, like, how can I help people back home? And he's going to be there on Saturday, and he has his own, story of dealing with immigration struggles within his family. So, this is very personal to him. And so anyway, he was like, we want to direct these resources back to the community. Is there any way that we can work with you guys? And I was like, absolutely. So the way it's going to work is, it's an all-day event, thanks to the Dardanelle Methodist Church for letting us use their space. They're always so good to us. And it'll start off in the morning. I'm going to look at my notes because I get nervous and I will say something wrong.
Myself, I know I have the flyers here.
So we'll have free health screenings, and that's thanks to Dr. Caballo. Lots of people probably know her. Yeah. She has been a key organizer with this. So again, she's one of the main people making this happen. And so thanks to her, she has arranged there's going to be some free health screenings in the morning, and that will include. Take my glasses off because I need bifocals. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol. So they'll be doing free checks on that. Then And then at 10 o'clock, Arkansas United will be there. And so folks are probably familiar with them. They're the pretty much the biggest immigrant resource organization in the state. And they're going to do a presentation around family emergency planning, just what people might be concerned about coming up in January, around anything that their fears might be. And, you know, we've had lots of conversations. I've heard from lots of people being like, what do you think is going to happen? What was supposed to be for my family? So we've brought in Arkansas United to help.
Okay, answer some questions.
Answer questions,
okay.
yeah. And they'll have a lawyer with them. And so the presentation will be from 10 until 1, and lunch will be provided for anyone who comes to that presentation with Arkansas United. And then the lawyer from Arkansas United will be available to answer, like, you know, individual questions after the presentation is over. They've asked that we make sure that you come to the presentation, you know, to be able to communicate with the lawyer after, because she's going to be given a lot of information that might get answered the first part, and then get into more specifics. So that's open to everyone. Again, thanks to Hispanic Federation and Mario, we're going to have, and Dr. Caballo for helping organize it, we'll have childcare. And childcare bilingual, so that way, you know, parents don't have to worry about, you know, if their kids need something, they can actually just focus on the presentation, and their kids will be in the building right next door, have activities for the kids. So that's happening in the morning, and then we're going to have free haircuts throughout the day.
Okay, that's good. I need one. I was thinking about going today.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to call my barber, but I don't know if my barber, if he sees me somewhere, he's gonna call me a cheater because like, I'm cheating on him.
He's like, "Did you do that?" But then, and then in the afternoon, and then after the Arkansas United presentation, we're gonna have a presentation on like emergency medical stuff. So like a Stop the Bleed presentation. So from a company called Off the Truck Medical, the presentation will be in Spanish, but they can answer questions if there's, you know, questions around language translation. Okay.
So is it more of a specific event for the Hispanic community?
Mostly, but it's for anybody.
Anybody can come?
Yeah, anybody can come.
Okay.
It's, you know, we're just, you know, letting people know almost everything will be in Spanish, but so, you know, but you know, like I feel very strongly that if you are a monolingual English speaker, sometimes it's really good to put yourself in a situation where you get to feel what it's like to not understand part of what's happening. But anyway, so we'll have that presentation. I'm really excited about that because that seems like a really great skill to have.
And I would even say, like, even if you don't need any of this that's going to be, you know, exposed to the community, just showing up, just showing your presence, especially if you're like a community leader or involved with the city, just showing up means a lot to others that are actually going there to receive this, you know. So, you know, I might even, depending on my schedule, I might even just show up and just, because I think that helps a lot. Just like, just showing up. I mean, I've seen community leaders just show up sometimes, say hello, and it's like, wow, he came, she came.
Yes.
You know? So I would motivate people that are out there that can actually make a change or be helpful with resources or whatever. Just show up.
Absolutely. I think just, like, and I want to give a shout out to Mayor Teague for the post that he put on recently, just like educating people and like just being, you know.
I saw that.
Yeah. Just.
I think a lot of people speak out of fear, you know.
Yep.
And once you know in the situation, just kind of be at ease. Like at the end of the day, everybody wants to thrive and have a family and make some money and build a future. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I agree. Like just being there, and it's a great way to meet new people that you might not otherwise meet. And build friendships and relationships. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have a series of rotating workshops. So there's 4 different, and people can kind of like go around to each one. So we're going to have one on, you know, Miriam helps people in the community a lot with taxes. And so it's going to be kind of like a taxes 101 conversation in Spanish, like all the different, you know, because she gets a lot of questions from the community. So this is going to be kind of an overview of that.
What time of the day is this going to be?
This will start at 2 and go till 5, the rotating ones. And people can kind of like go to each one. So they'll have time to go to each one. Each presentation is probably going to be like 20-ish minutes or so, and then again, room for questions, so people can bring their specific questions.
But the event is 9 to 5.
Yes.
And then you have different segments, like
Different
I see at 10
segments,
a.m.
yeah.
to 1, 9 a.m. to 12, 1 p.m. to 4.
Yes.
And these are, let me see. Okay, 9 a.m. to 12, health screenings. And then the workshops,
And then the
1
workshop,
to 4. That's where, like, even some tax information
Yes.
with Miriam.
That's the kind of rotating. It'll be taxes, and then Lourdes is going to do some stuff on basics of insurance. And then Hispanic Federation, Mario is going to have a couple more detailed workshops on questions around immigration.
Okay.
And then we'll have tables from lots of different organizations. So we're excited about that. So that'll also be something that's going on. We're going to have 100 Families will be there. LULAC will be there. And like I said, Dr. Caballo is a huge part of this. And so we want to really thank LULAC for their providing a lot of the volunteers, and they'll have a table. ASUBB will have a table. ATU will have a table. So just a lot of resources. People can go around, check it out, see what's in the community, put their name down to get called back if they need more resources. We'll have food throughout the day. We're going to have some baked goods from La Popular and La
That's what I was thinking. What kind of food? Cause
Yeah, tamales for lunch.
really? Okay, so I'm gonna tell this story quick. Okay, so Tao, he didn't take the husk out his first time. So he's like, it was a little hard on me. But when you guys had the seed event, I was like, you want a tamale? He was like hesitant. He's like, okay, fine. So I opened it up. I put some salsa, and he's like, "These are great." And he kind of then that's when he found out you have to unwrap it.
You have to unwrap it, right? That's hilarious.
So, all right, so I think I might just show up just on the tamales part now.
I mean, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be homemade, so that's really exciting. And we'll have like pastries throughout the day from if you've never been to La Doce Esquina in Dardanelle, ooh, so good. So we're gonna have stuff from.
Saludos a Marta. She's gonna be here soon.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah she's great. So we'll have food, and then there'll be, like I said, stuff for the kids the whole day. So we, that's something with the organization that myself and Alejandra have been really committed to. Both of us are moms, and we know from experience, like, both of our kids are older now, but when we had younger kids, it's like we weren't going unless the kids were going. You have to, so we always try to have something for the kids, because I know how it feels to be like trying to listen, and then they're like, Mom, so you're like, hold on one second. So we'll have stuff for the kids all day. So that'll be fun. And then also, if somebody is wanting to have more conversations with a pro bono lawyer, they'll be we'll take their name and we'll get them directed to the right person. So it's kind of going all day. And then the big part I really want to say about this part too, for people who attend all the workshops, and this again is thanks to Mario and Hispanic Federation. There was some funding for basically like food insecurity funding for Spanish-speaking community in this area. And, we started talking, and we were like, what do people need? And I was like, I think groceries, and Dr. Caballo was like, I think groceries. Yeah. So there will be gift cards given out to locally owned grocery stores and tiendas around the area for people who go to all the workshops. So like La Plaza Mexicana is going to be one place, and I'm blanking on. I knew I would forget something, but
is it the Morelos one?
Morelos. See, there's another one.
Tortilla.
Tortilla. Yes, that will be one option. There's one more option, and then also there'll be gift cards for local restaurants and small businesses as well. The bulk of them are going to be from the grocery stores, because we want to make sure that we're investing in local business and that people in turn get groceries. Everybody needs groceries at Christmas. So, so that's going to be available for people who go to all the workshops. And again, that's thanks to Hispanic Federation, who, and I know y'all are like an organization that thinks about this. I mean, the more we we invest in our local community, I always tell this like funny story, but my dad is was a justice of the peace for many years. He retired recently, but it was from him that I learned, like he would always be like, buy your gas in Yale County, and I was like, why? And he was like, because you're supporting the county, So I learned a lot from him about making conscious decisions about supporting locally owned, and so. Anyway, that's all to say that, we'll have groceries for folks. So just please come to that.
Yeah, you guys are giving help to the community, and they can use that to support the local businesses.
Absolutely,
So it's kind of
yeah.
like
Hopefully
a
it just
cycle
kind of
that's
circles around. Yeah. And like I said, that is all thanks to Hispanic Federation and Mario. And he's going to be there. And I don't know if he probably wouldn't want me talking about him this much, but I think his story is an example of somebody who grew up here and really understands a lot about, like, I know, he's like, I know what I experienced. I'm in a position now to give back and to support. So I'm just kind of the help out conduit person along the way.
That's great. That's great to go out there and make it, and then not forget about your community and give back. So shout out to Mario. I haven't met him. Hopefully I can meet him soon and go from there. So what I want to do before we continue is probably talk about this in Spanish for a little bit, so to get the community. Or if you want to try some stuff in Spanish, whatever.
Not on microphone. It will.
No.
You have no idea how many, like, my teacher Leslie Lopez always helps me, and the amount of ridiculous things that I have said because I was like one letter off. I don't want to do that on. I don't want to do that on the internet.
Oh yeah. I think once you learn Spanish, then you have to get into like different things, like some letters you don't pronounce in Spanish, like X, or X can be like my friend's daughter, her name is Jimena, but it's with an X. So it's kind of like, my kids are like, why? It's supposed to be an H or something. And I'm like, no, it's an X. So things like that. Or you don't pronounce hombre, right? But it has H. So it's like, that's why a lot of people say la huerta. So I mean, I get it, but it's actually la huerta.
La huerta, yeah. I remember one time I was trying to talk about a computer screen. Pantalla? No,
pantalla,
but I said something that sounded like sideburn, apparently, which is like another word that sounds.
Patilla.
Yeah, that's what I said. And so, like, my friend is looking at me like, I'm like, yeah, the computer screen. She's like, no. So I don't want to make them.
Oh, ¿me puede dar una patilla?
Yeah.
The guy's like, we sell TVs here.
No. I was like, oh, sorry.
That's funny. So, hey, for everybody that's been watching so far, I'm about to switch it up a little bit and invite the Spanish community to this event. So, si han estado mirando ahorita y tal vez no han entendido lo que está pasando, el día de hoy tenemos a Meredith con nosotros. Ella es parte de un evento que va a pasar este sábado 14 de diciembre. Es un evento muy importante. Está patrocinado por la Federación Hispana y River Valley Adult Learning Alliance. Y hay dos personas claves que han estado ayudando, que es Mario, ¿cuál es su apellido?
Méndez.
Mario Méndez y la doctora Alejandra Carballo.
Sí.
El LULAC. Y LULAC. Entonces ellos están tomando el tiempo, si escucharon a Meredith decir, Mario Méndez es una persona que creció en Dartnell, se fue a Nueva York con una organización y ahorita él está siendo parte de regresar algo a la comunidad con unos fondos que hay y para darles estos servicios o esta información a ustedes. Así que este sábado se llama Creciendo en Comunidad, Día de Recursos y Bienestar. Es el 14 de diciembre. Es casi todo el día de las 9 de la mañana a las 5 p.m. Va a haber diferentes, se puede decir cursos o clases o información. Por ejemplo, de las 10 a la 1 p.m., dice aquí, conozca sus derechos. Si enfrenta algo con ICE o etcétera, va a haber abogados, va a haber si tiene preguntas, yo sé que tal vez hay miedos por diferentes gentes y aquí la van a poder ellos responder a sus preocupaciones o sus preguntas, ¿verdad?
Sí, es con Arkansas United.
Ok,
sí.
La parte de asesoría legal es por parte, there goes the logo. Arkansas United, así que lleguen, es gratis, no se le va a cobrar. También hay abogados que trabajan, pro bono would be like what? Kind of they don't work for free, right? But
they're providing their services for free that day.
Okay, so ese día hay abogados que no están cobrando por sentarse con ellos y va a haber unos que le van a poder dar la información de ellos si es un caso más profundo y pueden comunicarse con él. Así que esta mañana yo tuve una conversación con alguien de una cuestión así de manejar y licencia y abogado. Así que si ustedes tienen algo así, deberían de aprovechar este día y están aquí en Dardanelle. Usualmente tenemos que viajar lejos para estas cosas, Little Rock o para Northwest, pero este fin de semana va a estar aquí todo el asunto. Así que personas que tengan cuestiones de sus derechos y cosas legales, vengan y se les motiva a que lleguen y estén de las 10 a la 1 en esta parte, porque ahí tal vez van a darle las respuestas a las preguntas que ustedes tienen, ¿ok? También va a haber evaluación de salud gratis, servicios para chequear VIH, hepatitis, presión arterial, glucosa, colesterol, que yo debería tal vez yo ir para esta parte. Y eso es de las 9 de la mañana a las 12 para que lleguen temprano, díganle a su mamá, a su abuelito, a sus hermanos, que se llene todo el asunto ahí. Y también va a haber talleres y mesas de recursos. Creo que ahí va a estar Tech, ¿verdad? Tech's going to be there in the booths. Va a estar Miriam Oliva de cosas de taxes y otros recursos. Y eso es de la 1 a las 4. Así que va a haber diferentes talleres. Entonces deberían llegar temprano a ver cuál es el que les beneficia o quieren informarse. Y esto importante para los niños. Va a haber cuidado de niños. Así que van a poder ir. Va a haber evento para niños para que ustedes puedan enfocarse en la información que hay. Así que repito, va a haber cuidado de niños. Ya si su hijo está medio loquillo, pues ahí le dicen a las que se van a cuidar que tengan cuidado con su niño específico, ¿verdad? Entonces, y también va a haber regalos. There's gonna be gifts.
The gift cards from the.
Okay. So, ahora que me recuerda Meredith, a las personas que estén ahí todo el día, do they have to be in all the
To be at least part
eligible?
of the workshops, yeah,
Okay.
part of the workshops.
Okay, van a regalar tarjetas que se llaman gift cards, tarjetas de regalo que usted va a poder usar tal vez en unos de los restaurantes o tiendas como Plaza Mexicana, Morelos. Entonces, estas tarjetas se le van a regalar a personas que atiendan a la mayor cantidad de los eventos que va a haber, los talleres. Así que si ustedes quieren recibir una tarjeta para mandado, no sé la cantidad, pero hey, algo gratis está bien, ya no importa lo que sea. Entonces, traten de estar ahí para que califiquen, para que les den estas tarjetas. Y eso también está patrocinado por the Hispanic Federation sponsoring this. La Federación Hispana está patrocinando estas tarjetas para mandado. Y ¿qué más? Y va a ser en la iglesia metodista de Dardanelle Methodist Church Community Building, en la 100 Norte, la calle Segunda, 100 North 2nd Street. Y si tienen preguntas, el número para llamar es el área 479-310-5269. Una vez más, 479-310-5269. Y si ustedes están viendo esta señal ahorita, háganme el favor y compártala, que de hoy al viernes todavía tenemos a que gente lo mire para que lleguen a este evento el sábado. Si usted está viendo, llámele a su amiga, amigo, familiar, dígale que el 14 de diciembre va a haber un evento grande en la iglesia metodista en Dardanelle para recursos de bienestar y salud y deberían de llegar. No esperemos para mañana lo que podemos hacer hoy. Y esta gente se está esforzando para meter su tiempo para traer recursos a ustedes. Entonces, ellos lo tienen en mente, deben de llegar.
Para un cita con abogado, número.
Ok. I got it. So, me acaba de decir Meredith, si usted quiere una cita con un abogado, le voy a dar el chance de que corra rápido a la cocina donde esté para que agarre un lápiz y una pluma. Y esto es para hacer una cita con un abogado. Si ya están listos, el número es 870-377-3550. Una vez más, 870-377-3550. Y si no lo pudo apuntar, pues ahí puede regresarle al rato al video. So, creo que ya cubrí todo. I think I covered everything. I don't know if there's anything else we should add.
I don't think so.
What are the cross streets? Second.
Oh, Oh my goodness, I
Should
should
I
know.
Google it?
Yeah,
That's
you
fine.
can
Let me see.
Google it.
100.
It's right downtown. So if you're like one street away from Front Street, and the church takes up kind of two city blocks. There's the church on one side, and then the community building right next to it, and so it's right next door to La Doce Esquina. So if you've been there, it's right next door.
Okay, let me see. I'm on the map right now.
I should know. I probably will know as soon as I walk
Okay,
out
I
the
see.
store.
So it's on the. It looks like it's on the corner of Second and Locust.
There we go.
And I see the church on the corner, and then the big parking lot in the back, and the Dulce Esquina is right on the other side on Quay. So, so en la calle Segunda y la Locust, en la iglesia metodista de Dardanelle. Y yo creo que van a ver a Meredith, van a ver a diferentes líderes de la comunidad. Así que lleguen, no les dé vergüenza, ustedes lleguen, pregunten. Yo sé que ahí va a haber alguien con una sonrisa para recibirlos. Así que that's it for me. Let me check this feed, see if there's any questions. Okay.
I'll say that if anybody's watching and they're thinking like, oh, I would really love to learn Spanish, then we do have classes every Friday night at River Valley Adult Learning Alliance. We have classes for English language learners, but we also have small groups learning Spanish. So, or if you speak Spanish a little bit, but you're beginner level and you want to practice with like a native speaker and we'll work with you, and we're very laid back. Like I said, trust me, like you have no idea how many times I have said very weird things trying to practice my Spanish. So everybody's really kind and supportive. So if you want to come, I think that it's really important for people to try, and we try to create an environment where it's not too scary to try. So yeah,
that's the part we all have to overcome, the fear of.
Yes.
I mean, I know people that know really good English, but they're like, but I don't want to speak it because my accent. So they know and they understand it, but they don't want to speak it because what are they gonna say? I'm like, look, man, like I've heard you. I'm sure you've heard some doctors with the big accent or whatever, and like they don't care. It's just you don't care. Just go speak it. And just figure it out,
Absolutely. Well, and we have one thing that I think is really funny. I love to tell this story because sometimes people will, ask me who are, English speakers, they have a thick, accent, like a Southern accent. And they'll be like, well, I don't want to help become a conversation partner or tutor because I have this really heavy accent. And I'm like, actually, that makes you a great conversation partner because a lot of English language learners do struggle with, like, I grew up in a family, like, with lots of, my dad had a very heavy accent, and according to my in-laws family from California, I also have one, although I don't feel like I do that much. But yeah, so you please come help out because, like, one time we had some folks working with us that Alejandro recruited, and one of their requests for their lessons was, because they run a taco truck, they were like, pretend to order, make it a complicated order, and have a heavy accent because they were trying to practice like understanding people. So if you're somebody who're like, I don't want to come volunteer, I'm like, no, your accent is wonderful. Come work with us.
Yes, just don't let those things hold you
Absolutely
back because
not.
there's gonna be a blessing on the other side of that. If you
Absolutely.
overcome that, you're gonna meet someone new. You're gonna find that they love your accent. Like I love the Southern accents. Like, hey y'all, and, hey honey,
Right.
and like, yes sir, yes ma'am. Like, because I'm like, dude, I'm like, I feel like so under like my vocabulary. I'm like, hey bro, how's it going? And I have to say, thank you sir, or whatever. And I like it. My son and my daughter, they're picking up. Like he'll text me back, yes sir. I'm like, ooh, proper. That's cool. I mean, because I'm from the West Coast. It's just, I guess we lost all of that. Like, hey dude, like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I live 7 miles from the beach, so I guess.
Oh yeah.
I'm not that of a surfer, but I've been there
You've
a
been
couple times. So, and then I'm getting used to this live. But there's a couple comments. Tal, thanks for checking up, looking good. Dr. Ellie Young, Islet Stud said Meredith Martin-Moats is awesome.
Hi Islet, you're awesome, Islet.
And then I see Marta Ceballos, saludos. You're watching, let me say this. Meredith was saying, estaba diciendo que los viernes hay clases que enseñan inglés.
Sí.
¿Y enseñan español too?
Sí.
So if you're an English speaker, they'll teach you Spanish. Si hablas español, te van a enseñar inglés. Y no tengas vergüenza de venir. Hay mucha gente con sonrisa para recibirte. Así que los viernes, where at?
En la iglesia de Metodista.
Ok, la misma iglesia metodista, ahí les enseñan clases de español e inglés, así que vayan los viernes, what time?
5 to 7.
De las 5 a las 7, every Friday?
Every Friday.
Todos los viernes, así
Well,
que...
not around Christmas. We're going to be closed for a while because we take a break with this when the school district does, but
Yeah.
the rest of
Well,
the time.
check this out, and I'm going to say it. We're going to have a New Year's Eve podcast at 10 a.m., and I almost canceled it, Isleth, because she booked it.
I was going to say, people, if they don't know about Isleth's work at the Polk County Library, it's
Yeah,
she's
well,
awesome.
you guys will hear a little bit about it on that day in Isleth. I almost canceled because I was like, wait a minute, that's New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talked to Tal. He's like, I'll be here. And I'm like, okay, well, if you'll be here, I'll be here. And it won't take much. So we're going to be out here, probably our last podcast of the year,
Nice.
celebrating with Isleth and just kind of maybe talking a little bit about what's been happening with Eleva and what we've been doing.
Nice.
If anybody's watching, Eleva started about a year ago in December. And we've had a lot of entrepreneurs, leaders come in here. You know, Alejandra Carballo has been here. The director of the Arkansas United, I forgot her name. Mireya has been here, and a lot of those people are thanks to Miriam Oliva. She really helped up early on to bring people, because I mean, I knew people, but I didn't know anybody,
Yeah.
you know. So I just want to thank all of you guys. Le quiero dar las gracias a todos los que han apoyado a Eleva este año, dándome la oportunidad de traer sus historias y estar con ustedes y ser parte de ustedes. Así que gracias a todos los que han estado este año conmigo. No ha sido fácil, pero juntos hemos luchado. Empezamos en Brainstorm acá en Downtown y luego acabamos de abrir este estudio aquí en Co-Create Innovation Hub, y le quiero dar gracias a Tao por también darme la oportunidad de ser parte de esto y todo el nuevo equipo. A Michael, hay muchos detrás de nosotros, Víctor, Karen, hay muchos, así que saludos a ellos, and I'm not gonna cry now. So, but yeah, so we'll be here New Year's Eve. Call us crazy, maybe I'll get a little hat and some whatever, but yeah, be expecting that December 31st we'll be here, 10 a.m. Not so late because we got to get back to that food and the celebrations, you know.
Yeah, totally.
So before we end, is there something you want to like tell the community, people around you, and then you can kind of talk to them? You can share. There's no time limit. You can just tell them everything you need to about what you do, where to find you, and just. I like to do that, you know, because I know everybody at the end of the day has a passion driving them, and it's cool when it comes from the heart. And I believe that the way you say it on these devices can transcend through those electronics, and people hearing can kind of catch something. And if it changes their life or if it motivates them, like that's why I do what I do. So this is your time right here.
No pressure. Yeah, no, I just I hope that people will come out on Saturday, and I really want to be clear in saying that this has been a group effort. So thanks to Dr. Caballo, thanks to LULAC at Arkansas Tech University, Mario Mendez and Hispanic Federation, and to everyone who helps with RBALA, Alejandra Reyes, and our board, Levi Mosquito. There's so many people. I don't want to name everybody because I'm afraid I won't. But it is such a group effort. Like, I am the person doing the interview today, but this is a collective. So I'm just one of many. But I guess the other thing I would say, especially to, people who are watching and don't know, is I think it's so important for us to build community right now. And I think that sometimes that means getting out of your comfort zone. If you're like an English speaker, like me, like that may mean getting out of your comfort zone a little bit to build community. And I think that it's just really amazing when we do that, and I just think that's what makes people stronger. I'm really proud to be from this area. I'm from a rural area. I'm live out in the country, and I'm so proud of where we're from. But part of that pride comes from the fact that I believe that we're all stronger working together. And I just ask that people come together and build community. It's going to take all of us for the future. So another person I will thank that's helped with some of the organizing is Stacy Daughtry, because she always talks about better together. So I want to throw out a thank you to her. But yeah, so just come work with us, and we try to provide a space where people can kind of show up as they are, and build community. So thanks for having me. Gracias para
Awesome.
invitarme.
That would make that makes a cool shirt. Build community, and maybe like some background,
Yeah.
like Darnell Rock or whatnot.
Oh,
or,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but Stacy, she's gonna say I stole that. So that idea. Well, thank you guys for being here with us today. Gracias por estar con nosotros el día de hoy en Eleva with Meredith Martin-Moats. It sounds like your name sounds like some Duchess of France or something, Meredith Martin-Moats, So, but I want to thank our sponsors today, Old Bank Golf. Golf simulator opening soon here in downtown Russellville. And we also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor, Grow and Go Academy, host by Dr. Ali Young. And I'm sorry if I'm getting this a little, we just started getting sponsored here. So I thank you guys for sponsoring what we do. And I want to thank everybody who's been supportive. We're coming here live. We're coming at you live right now from Town Square Studios inside of the Co-Create Innovation Hub. So there's a lot of wonderful things happening. There's a lot of creators here. I mean, just here we have a big glass window, and we're here live with people walking up and down. We have a smoothie bar out there, the bowls. So I think it's a great thing happening here. So we thank you guys for that. And stay tuned for our next episode. Who knows who will come by. Se me cuidan y hasta la próxima.